welcome to day 2 of Body Shaming to Body Positivity. Today we have with us not just Pragati and me, we have 3 more extremely dynamic women who are extremely doing well in whatever they're doing, but they want to talk to you about what their journey from body shaming to body positivity has been. So, Pragati, as you know, is a clinical psychologist, and I too am a clinical psychologist, and I've been the founder of Purnash, the Lifestyle Management School. And over to you, Pragati. Pragati will now introduce our invitees today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today. Today we have 3 very brave women with us who will talk about their own personal experience with shaming. Thank you everyone for coming and speaking so candidly and just talking to everyone. We have Poonam Goenka, who's a CA and a businesswoman. We have Anvesha Ray Mukhopadhyay, who was Mrs. Plus India 2019. And we have Ashna, who is a counseling psychologist and who works extensively with postpartum depression. So while we all experience shaming in some form or the other, some of us want to work at it and we go beyond it. So what we will do today is have small stories of each one where they will share how is it that they overcame shame. Poonam, would you like to talk about your experience with shaming? So please unmute yourself. And as I had mentioned, Poonam is a CA and a businesswoman. She's been running her own business successfully for more than 2 decades and runs multiple companies with aplomb. So over to you, Poonam.
Thank you, Pragati. Hello, everyone. So I am here to share my own experiences with shaming and particularly with the skin color. So as you all must have noticed, I am not too fair-skinned. And I was born in a society which was a fair-skinned society. And I was born in a relatively conservative family where fair skin was always seen as it was always a privilege to have a fair skin. So for me, or for our society, being fair was like, you could top your class, you could cook well, you were polite, you were uber talented. You were talented to an extent that you could even find a cure for COVID at these times. So I have personally felt that if you are fair-skinned, you have it all. And have I ever faced it? Oh yes, I'm sure, none of us have escaped shaming in any form, in some form or the other. So I will just share a small experience. When I graduated, and my graduation and my convocation day is supposed to be the best day of my life till date. And we were looking at our pictures, and one of my aunt told, she mentioned, "Oh Poonam, all your friends, they look so pretty. You are the one who looks weak." And I was like taken aback. I was like, I am beaming with happiness in this picture. How could I look weak? And that was the point I questioned myself. Am I really weak? I was like, no, I studied as well as they did. I partied with them. I look as good as them. I dressed well. So how could I be weak? And plus the strength was like, I was the youngest graduate of my batch. How could I be weak? So I told myself, no, it's not my weakness. It is because someone doesn't like me. If someone doesn't like you, they don't see good in you. And that is why when I realized when somebody would tell me, oh, you are dark. And I would be like, okay, this person doesn't like me. I can't be dark. I am not dark. God gave me this color. I didn't control it. I didn't ask for it. So let me just be happy with what I have. If you are body shamed or if you are color shamed as a child, like I remember I used all the remedies available in the kitchen, right from haldi, besan, tomatoes, potatoes, cucumber, you call it, and even the coconut oil. There is a time now, like till date, if I walk into a salon, I am always like, okay, madam, we have a very good fairness facial for you, or it will bring you a glow. And my instant reaction is, okay, I don't need it. I am happy with what I have. Facials generally make me look darker. That's not a fact, but that is how you overcome your thing for not being fair. I think what we need to do, all of us need to do, is just embrace what we have, embrace what we have been given. We have to understand that we are all, God decided for us. We didn't decide we want to be born as a male or a female, what color we are given, or the height or the weight. So we just embrace, we just be happy with what we have, and then move on. It builds on our self-confidence. As a child, my best friend, like she was the fairest girl in the class, and I would tell her often, Radhika, I would like to have your complexion, but she would be like, Poonam, I don't feel I am beautiful. So does fairness really defines beauty? We have always made a good marriage material in our society if we are fair. But is fair equivalent to being beautiful? Beautiful is not skin deep. In our society, beauty is just directly proportional to how fair you are. But I always was like, no, it's not the case. I have beautiful hair. My 10-year-old niece told her mom one day, Mom, you know what? By the way, I have a twin sister who is way fairer than me. So I was constantly compared. That would bring me down. But then that day I realized when my niece remarked, Mom, I don't like to be like you. I want to be like Masi. She has beautiful hair. She travels the world and she's so much more fun to be. So that gave me a great boost in my life. Coming from my sister's child to me, who I have been constantly compared for not being fair and fair, it was a boost. It was coming from a child who didn't know the difference between dark, light, white, good, bad, ugly. No. So that is the kind of appreciation we should always look at. We have to work on ourselves, just accept, embrace, and be confident. If somebody talks to you, I have now developed a habit. Like if somebody says, oh, you are not that dark, you are not that light and fair, I said, okay, I like rasgullas more than I like gulab jamun, and they're also more expensive. What do you think of me? They are at complete loss of words. This is how you have to really face your reality. You cannot change your reality. What you've been given is the best. Like I always admired Naomi Campbell. She is like an epitome of how she carried herself with so much confidence and grace, being a dark colored one. And in the times when fairness was the only definition in being beautiful. I have always as a protest, I have never used fair and lovely. And these days when they just said that, okay, we will chuck the word out fair from our whitening creams, I think I was the happiest of the lot. I was like, okay, good morning companies. These are the days we were waiting for a very long time. It should have been done long time back. A child should never feel I am not complete because she is not fair. As a personal protest, I never use whitening cream. And till date, I don't. It made me rebel, but then it did. It is what I am, and I accept myself as a complete woman, as a complete woman who can just do whatever she likes and embrace, like, be confident, not give up on your self-esteem. Beautiful is not skin deep. Beautiful is not the color of the skin. Beautiful is who you are in reality. All my best friends, the people I like, are not pretty. They are all beautiful people, but they are not pretty. So that's my take on the shaming that we face. And if you have any questions or have anything, I would be very happy to answer.
Thank you, Poonam. That was really, really very nice. We will have questions later on. Any of you, if you have any questions that you want Poonam to address, please put in a chat box and we'll definitely revert. And
I have a question for Poonam. Poonam, today, if all the questions, all the comments that you've heard, today, if you are to get back at someone or answer someone back, again, the same thing is repeated, what would you do? What state of mind would you come from? Or what would you actually tell that person or not tell that person?
Like I said, it normally came from women. Men remark less than women. So first thing I would be like, okay, this person does not like me, because if whoever has liked me has not accepted me for the skin color that I have, but for the person that I am. And like I gave you an example of rasgulla and gulab jamun, I would just make it a little polite, and I would just answer them back with an example of, say, gulab jamun or rasgullas, or maybe I would be like, okay, but I am given this, God gave me, like I said, and I am very happy with what I have. In fact, some of my Latin American friends would tell me, Penny, why don't you come to Latin America? You will be a hot commodity. And normally this is the example that I get back to them too. Like, I am a hot commodity, my friends tell me, Latin American friends, and I am very happy.
Just in the wrong geographical location.
Yeah. Just change the geography.
Yes.
And it's a fact. Like, it's true.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So now we move on to our next speaker, Anvesha Ray Mukhopadhyay. Thank you, Anvesha, for coming here. She was Miss Plus Size India 2019. She has walked the ramp for Lakme India Fashion Week and also some well-known designers. So over to you, Anvesha. What is it that you want to talk to us today about shaming, and how have you faced it, and rather, how have you then gone on to overcome it? We would love to know.
Okay, hi everyone. Firstly, thank you, Devleena ma'am, for having me over. Like, it's a real pleasure to be a co-speaker in this platform today, where I heard Poonam's lovely story, and it's amazing. And to be very honest, you're not at all dark. Okay, at least I am not finding you to be dark or dark-skinned at all. You're just pretty the way you are, and you're very, very beautiful the way you are. So if I, when it comes to my story or sharing my experience regarding shaming, I did not only face body shaming, but I faced societal shaming as well. Okay. There was a point of time when I'm talking about back in the year 2011, 12, say around about 13 or 14, when modeling started entering Kolkata with its soft steps. Okay, and people started taking up photography and modeling as a profession seriously, in Kolkata. So that is when even I wanted to try a hand in it, and I also wanted to go forward with it. But I was never entertained much, because I was never very thin or very skinny. And I was always a broad-structured woman, and I was always a plus-size woman from the beginning. So that's the reason why I was never ever entertained when it came to such things. And that is the reason why I always took it up as a challenge to come out with something which is completely different in terms of my own style statement, or my own body language, or my the way I look, or the way I dress up. I always try to make it a bit different, so that you always have this fear of being missed out, or as we say, the fear of missing out. So you also, as an individual, you also face the fear of being missed out. To create your own individuality, it is very important for you to stand out and to make a statement, because otherwise you will get lost in that crowd of so many people out there. You're not going to be noticed. So even I tried my fair share. But later on in life, when people tell me that, okay, you have won Miss Plus Size India, you had walked the ramp for Lakme Fashion Week, you were declared one of the most beautiful women in India, how is it that you had to face rejections? But to be very honest, even I had to face rejections in my life. Men rejected me because I was overweight. Men rejected me because I was not thin. Men rejected me because probably I had big thighs or big breasts. And some even came closer to me because of that reason. Some even rejected me because of that reason. And it's I do not feel ashamed talking about a woman's body parts, because to be very precise, they are as biological to me as it is to a man to his, because I don't feel ashamed regarding this. A lot of people have told me that, when in your live sessions, Anisha, you talk too much. Generally, you go too deep into details. I'm like, see, it's very normal. A woman wears a bra. It's very common. You don't go and tell her that, okay, your bra strap is showing. It's very normal. It can happen. Okay. So I have faced such things in life. And then I faced the biggest blow in my life, which I never thought would or could happen to me. And that was societal shaming. So, I was rejected. I was rejected as in a marriage proposal. My parents wanted to get me married in an arranged marriage, and I was rejected there, saying that I am too overweight and my size does not match with the groom. And I still remember the exact text message that the groom's father had sent across. I'd even stated this in one of my interviews to Aishumar. So this is something that happened. But even after that, I got married and things were going fine. But within a month of that, my ex-husband, within 2 months rather, my ex-husband, he lost his life in a bike accident. So I was here, a very newly married kid. I was only 23 years old. I had an arranged marriage then also. And I was like a very newly married kid who had just turned into a widow. So what would that girl do? Like, would she embrace a colorful sari, or would she embrace something which was white? Would she be scared to put on a red lipstick, or would she be able to flaunt it? So there are a lot of people who came and told me that अगर मन से भी नहीं होता तो कभी-कभी दिखाने के लिए करना पड़ता है. So I was like, what do you mean by that? So then people told me that if you do not even feel like doing it from your heart, at times you have to do it for the society. So I said, how can I do something which I do not feel from my heart? So I faced such conflicts as well. If I wore something which was red in color, I was looked upon, literally looked upon and gazed upon. It suddenly turned into a psychology where I started feeling that whenever I'm out on the road, even if I do not know that crowd or that face in that crowd, that person who's gazing at me probably knows everything about me. So I faced a huge trauma, regarding my dressing sense, regarding what I should wear, what I should eat, because in Hindu culture or in the Hindu customary norms of a very middle class Bengali family, a woman who's been widowed should be eating vegetarian food only and nothing else, enjoying nothing in life, should be draped in a white sari, sent in some corner of the room in some darkness, and that's it. But my parents helped me out. My father really helped me out. My aunt really helped me out, and my friends, they are God's blessing, and they helped me out like anything in these times of trauma. And they told me that, listen, you either have two options. You have two options in life. Either you sit there, and sulk, or you just get up. You just get up, put on that makeup on your face, tie your hair, get inside those heels and that that dress of yours, and show it to that world that I care a fuck. Does not matter what I wear, what I want to be, what I don't want to be. That's none of your business at all, in any goddamn way. So even I understood that, yes, I think it's time when we start speaking up for ourselves rather than waiting for somebody to speak for us, or rather than being the damsel in distress where some Prince Charming would come and rescue me. I think it's high time I become my rescuer, and I start speaking for myself. So I started going out in colorful clothes. I started eating normal food. I started partying. I even wore a bikini during those point of times and put up a picture on Facebook, and that is the reason why I was badly pulled down by people. I was lynched almost. I was almost lynched. Where people told me that iske pati ko mare hue sirf ek mahina hi to hua hai, and she's going out, she's clubbing, she's partying, she's doing this. So I asked them just one question: what do you think is sorrow? Is sorrow about what you wear and how you present yourself, or is sorrow something deep inside your heart? That is what is more important to to note down these days. What is sorrow, or what is depression, or what is grief? A person who is majorly depressed, can simply look absolutely fine to you from the outside and be completely torn upon from the inside. A person who has 10,000 friends can also be lonely. It's high time we start accepting such things and not bully people unnecessarily for what they do and the choices they make in their lives. Post that, I got the opportunity to go for Miss Plus Size India, and over there I really did not know, I had no clue that I would actually win. and come out victorious and stand as one of the most courageous woman to hold up a crown on my head. And I did it. Yes, I did it. I even worked for Lakme Fashion Week. And again, I say that, yes, I did it. I had to face a lot of hurdles. It's not like I am working in a movie right now or I have a very successful modeling career. But I did not do all of this to gain a modeling career or to, work in a film opposite Shah Rukh Khan. That was not my aim. I did this because I think somewhere down the line, many of me, by saying this, I mean many other women like me need it from someone at least who can just come to them and tell them that, okay, what is happening to you or what is going to happen to you is normal. It's okay. We've all gone through it. I have seen people attempting suicide because of body shaming issues. I've seen people go on crash dieting, falling sick because of such issues. The reason being, my boyfriend has rejected me. My husband is having an extramarital affair. My girlfriend has rejected me. My wife is having an extramarital affair. Let's face it, guys. It does not only happen to women. It happens to men equally. It's just that we are probably more privileged on this angle, at least in our society, that we are getting the opportunity to speak, and a lot of men don't, because men are the people who generally get less attention regarding such things. So that was sharing my experience with all of you and my experience on body shaming.
Thank you so much. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of us, a lot of other women who've been through similar situations, worse situations, or some sort of body shaming will definitely get a message. Your Facebook posts are something that I regularly follow, and they are truly inspirational.
Thank you.
Now we move on to the next speaker. Thank you for sharing your journey, Anvesha. Ashna is a counseling psychologist who's been working for the last 7 years. She deals with postpartum depression mainly, and she's also an integral part of Cornash, the Lifestyle Management School. So Ashna, would you like to share your experiences with body shaming and what is your take to it?
Absolutely. I feel personally that body shaming starts right from your own house. The first time you hear comments like, probably you should get into something else. This is showing a lot of your skin, or your arms aren't looking nice, and maybe you should eat a little healthy. It starts very subtly from there, from the people that are absolutely close to you. At least that's what happened with me. I grew up feeling that I was a chubby kid, healthy kid. Actually, to put it, I was always told, you're a healthy child. It's okay, you're a healthy child. As if it was a problem and I was really thinking about it. And before this, I never really realized that there was something wrong with my body. I still don't, probably. I still don't feel that there is something wrong with me. Postpartum, I had a baby and I put on a whole lot of weight, and it has stayed on. I was at a party, I was at a wedding, when someone walked up to me and told me how I needed to lose weight, and it'll be smart if I eat and come to these parties, because why should I eat, outside food and further add on to the weight? The minute that person said that and walked, I couldn't finish my meal. I put the plate down and I couldn't eat for the next 2-3 days. That is when I realized that it was fine. I have some weight. I just had a baby. I've had different set of priorities all this while. I haven't focused on myself. And even if I did, it's okay. I want to eat what I want to eat because I want to eat it and it's making me feel good. And I don't need anyone to tell me what to eat, how much to eat, and when to eat. Even if it's my family. That happened. A few people would very casually ask me when I was due, knowing very well that I've already delivered. So that was their way of telling me how, you're still very huge. You need to work on it. You need to think about it. eventually I realized people just need very nice ways to put you down. They are just going to be very innovative about it and innovative about how they put it across. So the best way to carry yourself is just be who you want to be, eat what you want to eat, and go wherever you want to go. I confided in my friends, I spoke with them about it, which made me realize even more that I am doing my best at what I'm doing right now. I have my priorities straight. I love myself the way I am, and I think I look really nice. I believe I look really nice, and it is okay. So when I step out, I chose to distance myself from the people who are making all these comments. On social media, when I realized that people personally start texting you about these things, you unfollow those people. It's as simple as that. So for me, this was my experience, and this has just been the last few years. But otherwise, when it comes to body shaming, I've heard all kinds of experiences. People talking about, not being comfortable with the way they look. It is absolutely fine. It's absolutely okay to, change the way you look, even if it requires you to get some treatments. If it is making you feel good and if it is making you feel confident, then why not? But shaming people for having undergone some treatment is also a very pertinent problem. As a society, we want to comment on how that one went under the knife to get bigger lips or thinner nose or more defined cheekbones. But then I feel it's just a person's choice. It is absolutely fine. We have the science and technology, and if it is making you feel good, then why not?
Thank you, Ashna. That was really heartfelt, and to actually talk about how people just randomly comment on another, and it's really not okay. And that is what we have tried to speak about today, that however a person is, we are human beings at the end of the day. We are not Shylocks measuring every pound of flesh, and we are not people in the fur trade where we are sitting and watching skin color, and we really are not people in some theological society who decide what the role of a woman is, how she needs to live her life. So over to you, Devleena. So
before we part today, I want each of the speakers today to just give out that one line, a one-liner for the whole world on your take to this body shaming to body positivity. We'll start with Anvesha, then we'll go to Ashna, and then Poonam. Quickly.
So in my case, I always use this line that wear your own confidence. No matter what happens, wear it. Be it a lipstick that you're wearing or the dress you're wearing. That's one line of.
Great. Ashna?
I just feel that I am who I am, and I don't think I need for anyone.
Thank you. Poonam?
Just be yourself. It is like who I am. I accept the way I am. I am happy the way I am. God gave me this and I am accepted.
Great. So before we part, there are two things that we need to talk. One, Pragati will make an announcement, and as always, I leave you with a tip. And the tip for today is, I want each one of you who's watching me today to walk up to your mirror. Look at yourself as a whole. Not that one nose that you don't like, or the fat belly that you don't like, or the flat-chestedness that you don't like. However, don't focus on any one thing. Look at yourself as a whole and just look at it with a lot of appreciation, like you would look at another person whom you really love and appreciate. So over to you, Pragati, for the announcement.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. In these times, everybody is counseling someone or the other. Either it's a close family friend, it's friends, or it's some elderly relative or a little child. So a lot of people were approaching us to come up with a short course on counseling skills. Something which was not very extensive, something which did not stretch on to a full diploma, but something which just give them a little bit of bandwidth to communicate with another. And also people wanted to pick up some skills related to active listening. Because while we want to be there for our loved ones and our friends, often we are not as helpful as we would like to be. So we have come up with this 3-month course, which is all about the foundation of counseling. What is counseling? Is it advice giving? Absolutely not. Is it actively listening? Absolutely yes. So we begin on the 28th of July. Classes will be held 3 times a week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2:30 to 4, and on Saturdays from 10 to 1:30. So if you are interested, please give one of us a call or leave us a message, or you can always put your queries on the page. Thank you for joining us. We'll be with you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Should you
Thank you.
a part of the program, please write to us or text us. We'll try and incorporate it into one of our interactive sessions. Thank you everyone, and see you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Stay safe. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.